So started drinking coffee again.
And how you feeling? Can you feel it? Can you like really feel it?
Funny enough, no. I really
Really?
can't.
You're just numb.
I mean, I got to tell you that in a way, I don't know if that the caffeine really did anything for me.
Psh,
And maybe that's just
you're fooling yourself.
exactly. I was going to say, maybe I'm a little naive in saying that, but
It's you just don't notice it because everybody's
true.
doing it and for so long and
Well, I will be absolutely 100% honest with you that when I did quit coffee, and I've done it a few times where I've like quit cold turkey, and a lot of times it's usually like around certain deadlines and stuff, and it is the worst mistake that I've ever made in my life.
As if you weren't going through enough.
Exactly. Like, hey, how can I make this adventure even worse?
Right. They say that if you train yourself for that kind of thing, then what is actually the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah.
You should just go sleep out on the porch one night and, do a 20-day fast and, just actually suffer, right? Which I'm not saying that going without caffeine is not suffering, but put yourself through some suffering every once in a while, like you're talking about, and makes you stronger for sure. Less afraid of death.
Exactly. Not too long ago, and I really don't know why. I just did. And I felt like once I was into it, and I was just like, well, I'm into it. Let's just keep going. I did a 5-day fast.
Nice.
And I was just like, and it felt great afterwards, detoxed and all that other stuff. And and then how did I celebrate? By having my first cup of coffee in 8 months. I was just like, hey, yay. All right, I'm back on coffee now.
So what made you decide to go back?
Long hours.
Yeah. More deadlines?
Yeah, more deadlines. Long hours.
Jeez.
I needed comfort.
So, yeah, I think everybody doesn't really feel it because their adrenal glands are all burnt out from drinking too much coffee.
Yeah.
I gave up drinking coffee in the afternoon completely. So I have an iced coffee right now, but it is decaf.
So I will say,
and that's my beverage of choice as I take a sip.
Yeah, I will say that I've only gone back to drinking 1 cup a day. And I would like to actually ask if you think that so I'll do cafe au laits. It's half coffee, half milk. And so is it really even a full cup of coffee?
No, it's just milk with a little coffee flavoring.
Exactly, a little bit of coffee colored.
I drink water all day long. It just tastes like coffee.
Exactly.
I drink a lot of water. I stay hydrated.
Yeah.
With a diuretic.
Exactly. Oh man, when I was really, really drinking a lot of coffee, I'd go through a 12-cup pot a day.
Oh my God. Yeah, your adrenals are burnt out. Maybe this 8-month thing was really, really good for you.
It probably was. It's like, hey, look. Was. And so, going back on the wagon, I guess,
yeah,
I decided to go baby step into it and say, and so far, stuck to the 1 cup a day, and it's not even 1 full cup because it literally is just cafe au lait. So it's mostly milk. And of course, because mostly my wife is drinking it, she's asked me to weaken my coffee. But I want coffee that when you call it, it comes to you.
Wow. Interesting developments.
What was I was watching something. Oh, it was Hidalgo. Funny enough, because I was in Saudi Arabia, and we were learning about these long distance horse races and stuff that were prevalent in the area where I was at. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch Hidalgo. And so I was watching that, and the sheik invites the main character into his tent and has this really, really strong coffee, and he's just
like a Turkish coffee or something.
Yeah, and so he was just like, many people find it really strong, and the guy just grabs it and shoots it, and he's just like, Mister, back where I'm from, if we put a horseshoe in the coffee pot, and if it's not standing up, it's not strong enough. Yes, that's the coffee that I like.
That's what you're looking for. That's why you drink it with half a cup of milk.
It cuts it down. It increases its viscosity.
Yeah.
So I don't have to chew it. I can drink it.
Nice. So the reason I asked about if you can feel it is because I think since I've cut back, I actually do when I kind of go through that ritual in the morning of making my cup of coffee, and I enjoy that part of it. I mean, that's one of the reasons I drink coffee is just to do that. But I've really been trying to pay attention to how I feel when I'm drinking it. And because I have gotten a strong sense of, and it's not very often, it's not even every day, and it's definitely not the whole time I'm drinking it, but it's like those first couple sips where I feel it. And it's pretty enjoyable, I have to say. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
If you pay attention to it and you notice it, it is a nice little thing that happens. And it is interesting to think about coffee as, so here's an interesting story I heard about coffee recently. And I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but it was talking about basically how it is a drug. Caffeine is, especially administered in this way by the workplace. Originally, this was used as kind of a morning and an afternoon productivity enhancer by the workforce, by the workplace, I should say. I thought that was interesting. And just fully accepted as this is now obviously totally legal, but still considered a drug for a workforce to be more productive. And it is, I think architecture has definitely been one of those professions that has gained immense, overwork productivity through the use of coffee is always brewing inside an office, always. And with no lack of overnighters and all-nighters and whatever you want to call them, that it's definitely very useful for our profession. But I just wondered if you had ever thought of it that way, when you this is something that the office administers to its workforce for productivity gains, to enhance the bottom line of the business.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because my particular project team has been talking about saying, hey, it'd be really great if we can go into the office a couple days a week and meet up, and it would really increase kind of productivity, which we totally agree with. And as we're talking about it and stuff, one of the principals is like, well, we can go ahead and get lunch for everybody and stuff, but we've definitely got to figure out the coffee situation, because obviously, we're not making community coffee pots and stuff.
You're not brewing it for the whole. You're not brewing it for the whole thing. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that you got to have your personal AeroPress brewer now on your desk.
And so he was just like, we're not going in if we can't solve the coffee problem, then we're not going in.
Wow.
And it's
such a strong prerequisite.
It's like, well, I guess we could potentially be productive without it. But, it's funny that you say that. Can we?
You got to show up with your thermos.
Yeah, we're going to need to get one of those big, mega thermoses, like the big green ones that my dad used to go to.
Yeah, the Stanley thermos. Yep, the Stanley lunchbox. That was the top of the lunchbox, right? And it didn't always have a beverage in it. Sometimes it had some nice hot soup or something in it. But yeah, they actually sell those at REI now.
Yeah.
So you can go to REI and pick yourself up a green Stanley thermos and fill it with coffee, and you'll be good for more than yourself if you're only drinking 1 cup a day anyway, right?
Well,
probably keep it hot for a couple of days in that thing.
Exactly.
Oh, it's curious. This whole coffee as a drug and the workplace administering it to make sure that their productivity levels stay high. Never thought of it that way.
Another thing is just coffee as the conversation pit.
Yeah. Yeah.
When everybody's in, and I know it's especially at your old office, where it had all the different types of cold brew, and it had all.
We had a cold brew tap. Yeah.
Exactly.
With nitro. It was a nitro tap.
And everybody is gather around the nitro tap, and it's always just an inevitability that every time I go into the break room to get coffee, there's this unspoken rule, or it's technically a spoken rule, that you get the last cup out of that, the little pump pots that we have
Yeah, you're supposed to do it.
You're supposed to be the one to make the next pot.
It's obvious. Come
So
on,
as
people.
you're pushing it down, you can feel if it's going to be like the last one.
So, and you don't want to hear that dreaded sound.
Yeah,
so
it's
because
like,
you can feel it, you avoid it because the sound alerts everyone else that you just emptied it.
Exactly. And so people are like, oh, I feel that little bit of resistance. Oh, I'm going to let go and I'm going to walk off.
I'm walking away right now.
Exactly. I'm walking away. Everybody else is. And then I'm the next one that walks in there. I mean, it seems like it's like, oh, look, Cormac's going to come up. And then I end up having to make the next batch.
And you just wonder, like, am I on candid camera? Like,
Why am I always the one who gets stuck? Somebody's out there laughing at me always getting stuck with it. However, we've got where you take basically the little grounds holder and you put it in a little thing, and it's got like the automatic grinder that grinds just enough for like that particular brew pot, and it's always weak. And it's so like I always do like 1.5 times the allotted amount, and then everybody's like, oh.
Do your coffee pots, do these pump thermoses that you have names on them for different like brews, strength of brews?
Yeah. But when like a lot of times if I come in early in the morning, I'll start making all of them and just put like a little sticky note on there that says, you're welcome, enjoy. It's just like, cause it's always like the morning brew. You want that like little kickstart. And so like I give them the slightly stronger coffee.
Yeah. In our office, it was, that one had the sticky note on it that just said all nighter.
That was great. I'm gonna have to remember that.
You gotta have a good name on those so there's a little bit of warning, especially for those of us who are sensitive to the afternoon brew because of sleep issues.
Yeah.
It's like you do not want the kicker.
I think I'm gonna call it nitrous oxide.
Yeah. It's like Viper or this one's gonna leave a mark. Like, speaking of that Turkish coffee, I've been out to lunch. There's a Cuban place by the old office, and we'd go there and it seemed like I don't know if it's just Cuban coffee or what. Obviously, they were serving it there. It's a very small shot of very strong coffee, and that just burns a hole 100% of the way through you.
So growing up in the Tampa St. Pete area, the Tampa Bay area is like the second largest community of Cubans outside of Miami, outside of Cuba. In fact, actually, there was a point in time where there were actually more Cubans in the Tampa Bay area than there were even in Cuba. And somebody's going to fact check me and probably find out I'm wrong, but that was always the story I was told. So I'm going with it. But where I'm going with it is that, obviously there was a copious amount of great Cuban restaurants and obviously accessibility to great Cuban coffee. And I know a lot of my Cuban friends would bring us Cuban coffee and it would just be, oh my God, it is like nitrous oxide shot. You take that little small shot and don't call it espresso. Don't call it anything like that. It is just Cuban coffee. And Cuban coffee is small cups, super strong. Yeah, you can put milk and cream in it or sugar in it, but it doesn't matter because all of that is going to be overpowered by just the strength of that coffee.
It's useless.
Yeah.
Resistance is futile.
Exactly. But it is amazing. And we thankfully have a Cuban restaurant not too far from our office in Baltimore. And don't think that I don't, like, on occasion, go take a nice visit over there and get a good shot of Cuban coffee or a good Cuban sandwich. Can't beat a good Cuban sandwich.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I miss going out.
Yeah, exactly.
I do miss going at the office. It was the great escape going out to lunch every day to get away from the office. And now that doesn't happen anymore.
I had a friend who she was half Cuban and half German. And German coffee is pretty strong too. And she used to actually mix Cuban and German coffee together. It was almost like a world war in your stomach.
Yeah, it's rough.
I mean, it was some strength. You literally were ready to like take on the world.
Wow. That takes what they call a constitution.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. And in fact, actually, it's just because the flight to Saudi I went from DC to Frankfurt to Riyadh. I got to stop in and I got, German coffee and I got Arabian coffee, and both of them are very strong coffees. And that was when I realized I'm like, yep, I'm completely off the wagon.
This is, and those aren't like gateway coffees, right?
No. It's not for the faint of heart, and it's gonna, if you're not ready for it, it's gonna knock you.
This episode of the ArcaSpeak podcast is supported by Twinmotion. Let's talk ArcViz technology. Powered by the near-limitless Unreal Engine, our friends at Twinmotion offer a fast and easy way to produce stunning real-time visualizations and immersive experiences for your clients. Twinmotion gives you the tools you need to make faster decisions and relay information to your clients in a way that instantly speaks to them. Breathe life into your scene by changing the season, the weather, the time of day, just by moving a slider, immersing your client in a way that they'll love and, more importantly, be able to truly picture themselves in. Seriously, it's that easy. You have to try it to believe it. So why not share your design with stakeholders in collaborative reviews and edit your scene together? I'm a huge fan of this. There's no better way to get buy-in than by making your clients feel part of the development process. Right now, they're running an exclusive free trial for listeners of this show, which you can head to twinmotion.link/ArcaSpeak to get your hands on. That's twinmotion.link/ArcaSpeak. So you said that you had, before you went off coffee, you had like a 12-cup pot.
Yeah.
So do you have a ritual to the coffee making process, or is it just like automated?
No, there's still a ritual to it. And a lot of times, well, I've had to change my ritual because I'm making it more for my wife to take in, because she needs her own shot of caffeine to get through the day of little first graders.
I mean, it's her fix.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. She goes, if I can.
And you're the pusher.
Exactly. But it was a little too strong for her, because I used to just eyeball it. I'm like, how much water do I have in the pot? Okay, I'm just gonna eyeball it. And for me, it was like great. I hold the coffee pot up, and if I can't see light through it, perfect.
That's the good. You like the dark, the dark roast.
And then now it's like I hold it up, and it's just like, this is just kind of like muddy water. And my wife's like, you don't drink it anyway. Like, well, no.
Why do you care?
Exactly. But what's interesting is, like, so I have a friend who every once in a great while we stay at like his beach house, and they don't have the good old fashioned Mr. Coffee drip coffee maker like we do, which is kind of a tradition only because it was like how I learned how to make coffee from my father. And so I kind of like hold on to that tradition because he's no longer with us. So the tradition of making it the old drip kind of coffee way is the way that I make it. But we go there, and he's got French presses and the mocha pot or maca pot, the little metal.
The one that it's like a bubbler on top.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's got
so it's
we've got one of those.
It's like the little small one. It's
percolator.
It's like the percolator, but it's like small, like 1 cup per kind of thing.
Right.
And in that one right there, I mean, it's almost an art form to making coffee. Obviously you fill up the little bottom reservoir, you fill up the middle. For some reason, it takes the acidity, in my view, it takes like the acidity out of the coffee, and it just makes it like beautifully smooth. And it's good. And, and of course I like fill up the little like ground, like little reservoir thing, the little where you put the coffee in, and I fill that up. And of course it makes like really strong coffee. The whole ritual behind that, like the taking your time. I mean, my wife's like, she goes, next time, let's just bring our drip coffee. I need my coffee now.
Can you inject that, please?
And she's like, I don't feel like waiting around for you to make another one. I'm like, but it's kind of cathartic. It's fun.
I agree.
There's just something about it that just like, slow down, enjoy the art.
Exactly. Slow down. Yeah. I boil water in the morning and I pour it over it's like a Chemex, but cheaper version of that. It's a glass, kind of hourglass shape, and it's got a filter in the top full of grounds that, I've got a grinder and grind it up and put it in there and pour the water over it. And you got to take your time and pour the water over it a few times to get the amount that you want. And it's really nice. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's easy to clean up, and I just make one cup of coffee for me. My wife doesn't usually drink coffee, so it's just me anyway. So it makes a lot of sense. We used to use an AeroPress, still have it, but there's kind of been a war on plastic in our house.
Yeah.
So we've gone away from using it. We also have one of those percolators, but that's kind of our camping coffee maker.
Yeah,
those things are fantastic. You can just put it on a fire, like a real fire, or a barbecue or whatever, a stove. It just goes right on there, and it's a fantastic travel way to make coffee because it's all contained in one thing. You're not going to lose any pieces to it, and yeah, it's great.
I keep wanting to go, and I look at it every time, and I talk myself out of it for some reason, but every time I go into an Army Navy store, they'll have like the old Army issued percolators that were meant for out in the field. And for some reason, they decide that they want to jack the prices up, which is usually what convinces me not to buy it. But I always want to buy one of those just because I remember there's like a memory attached to just the art of that, because that was really where I started drinking coffee, was in the Army. My grandmother had started to teach me how to drink coffee, which was where I kind of got the lots of cream. I used to do lots of cream, lots of sugar, and a little bit of coffee. It's what my dad used to always say. Yeah, my mom always, lots of cream, lots of sugar, and just a little coffee for color.
Coffee flavor. Yeah,
exactly.
Like a hint of coffee.
Exactly. And I used to drink it that way, but now I've like cut out the sugar part of it and just, it'll either be cream or milk. But there's just a memory behind all of that. And even with her though, she didn't have like like my dad was like the blue collar, like, Mr. Coffee. It was the Mr. Coffee brand drip coffee maker. And literally I went out and bought myself, and now it's about to give up the ghost. But everything about it has stopped working. All the fancy parts of it have stopped working. And maybe it was because I tried to get too fancy with it and got like, ooh, look, it has like time delay and all of this other stuff. Whereas my dad was just like, man, just you get up, make coffee, press the button, you're done. Mine had more than one button, so maybe I was just trying to get too fancy on it.
I have kind of longed for that. You walk out into the kitchen and it's already there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So that timer thing does seem attractive, but it's not. Then I lose that whole ritual part of it. It speaks to what your wife's talking about, where it's like drive-through style. Just give it to me.
Just give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Little testy this morning, I see.
Exactly. Her ritual is she wakes up, she walks out there, she's out there for like maybe 2 minutes, then she walks back into the room, has a cup of coffee in hand, she goes, coffee, coffee, coffee. It's just, it's there to move on. But I got to tell you this story real quick. So when we were in Saudi and at our hotel, we go down and a lot of things are kind of like make it yourself right now because of just COVID and things like that. So they installed both a German cappuccino maker and a Italian cappuccino maker. And then of course, just like, the regular percolator type coffee, machines as well. And so this guy that I work with, one of the partners, he was there and he had got himself a cup of coffee and then brought it back to the table. And then he got up and he walked over and he made himself an Italian cup of cappuccino and a German cup of cappuccino to test and try out and to see which one was better. And of course,
little taste flight.
And so I'm looking at him and he's got 3 cups of coffee around him. And by the time we're done, he's actually on his 5th cup, because he's like, well, I've already got this cup of coffee. I've already got this German cappuccino, so let me try those and drink all those up because I already have them.
Finish them.
Can't waste them. So then he's like, the Italian, cappuccino is so much better, of course. As he says, he's like, of course it's better. And so then he goes and gets another one, and then another one.
Oh my gosh!
You're like, dude,
overdoing it.
I was like, we're going to be in the desert today, and this doesn't really help your hydration at all,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, but I need it. You're like,
I need it.
And so
I
like,
want it. I think it's the right.
And so it's like like as we're driving around through the desert and stopping to like do some mapping and do some photography and all this other stuff, he like jumps out and he's like, takes off running and he's like climbing climbing up to the top of these cliffs. So he's like, I just want to get a better vantage point. You're like, you need to work off your coffee, dude. You're like on a daily coffee high. I mean, we ended up calling him either the Jackrabbit or the Mountain Goat, depending on like what he was doing at the time, because he was either like Jackrabbit off, and then the next time we turn around, and you've seen some of these pictures for scale, like these big, massive rocks and stuff, with like the little teeny truck in the picture and everything else. Well, here he is, and the next time we turn around, he's like at the top of this thing. Like, how the hell did you get up there? They're like. One, why did
Lots
you?
of energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I'm jacked, man.
I'm jacked.
Like coffee.
Well, I'm surprised those Land Cruisers didn't come with their own espresso machine built into maybe the back there. You have a nice, sophisticated tailgate party.
You know what? I wouldn't be too surprised if we would have suggested that. I mean, I'm sure they would have probably accommodated us for us, but those things were so nice. So nice.
Well, we don't need to get off on the car tangent. We're so deep in the architectural, coffee conversation here.
Exactly. Yeah, no. Well, but yeah, they should have come with a coffee maker because,
Well, and you guys were out like 12 hours, 18 hours a day. You got to have refill ability out in the middle of nowhere. You'll be self-sufficient.
I'll say what was, kind of amazing is that they've got like tons and tons of cup holders, all of the modern vehicles and stuff, but they had basically like a little fridge, like where the center console was, and you could fit like 6 normal sized water bottles in, or like, 2 of like the big super jug kind of like things. And so one day I actually like put in, I had like my thing and I made really, really crappy like powdered coffee and powdered creamer coffee, and then I made it in my hotel room, and then poured it in some cups, put it in the fridge, and there was some ice in there, and so I basically made some iced coffee to take with me. But I would like keep it inside that thing all day long. I would have this perfect iced coffee in this thing. It was just like, it doesn't feel right that I'm like living in this kind of like luxury, because the last time I was in the desert, we were like, I would eat sand-ridden kind of. I've told you the story, right? About
I don't know.
So when we were in during Desert Storm, we were there, and we had like MREs and other things that were our food. And of course, by the time we were done, everybody was like, even like the largest, portliest of persons were all like rail thin, skinny. Because we were just working all day, sweating it all off, and not getting enough calories and everything else. And so once Desert Storm was over with, we started to get some care packages in, and we got like a whole care package of these little small mini Snicker bars. Mm-hmm. And they're like doling them out, and of course they're kind of getting a little hot, and stuff. And so I
a little melty.
So I like pop one open, and of course it's kind of like slippery, so it like flies out and it falls into the sand. And I look over at the dude standing next to me. He's like, "If you don't eat it, I am." I'm like, and I push him out of the way and pick the thing up, and it's covered in sand.
Oh,
and I just pop.
I have not heard this story.
And I like totally just popped that sucker in my mouth and just grind away. And eat
Did you say 5-second rule? You had to have said that.
Of course we did. Well, it was just I mean, there was some. It was definitely far more colorful with the way that we said it, but. It was just like, I'm not letting that thing go to waste. And it was just so funny. Actually, also, another just side tangent of that care package is, so obviously, Saudi Arabia is a dry country, and they actually have beer there, but it's all like the near beer. It's like the non-alcoholic beer. Mm. And so some friends of ours had their wives like send them kits to like make beer and stuff like that, but they would like add like yeast and all of that other stuff to like the near beer and like basically let it ferment. And of course, obviously not very scientific and obviously not well thought out. And so like they would like, say, oh, it's got to be fermented by now. And it would be like this just floating mass of mold on top of this thing.
Oh my God.
And they'd pull it out and just drink the thing.
Oh, what?
Jeez. I figured that after this like delightful conversation of coffee and just the artistry that we were talking about of like making it and stuff.
Yeah, the ritual.
I figured I would like send us out with the image of moldy beer and a bunch of soldiers drinking it.
As a chaser to sand-covered Snickers.
As a chaser to sand-covered Snickers.
Wow, that's the visual I was looking for today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, to many more morning rituals, my friend.
Exactly. Cheers.
That's it for this episode. We'd like to thank our episode sponsor, Twinmotion, and we'll talk to you all next week.